Let's swing gears now, everyone. And let's say that what is happening in the health sector gets our attention. The National Industrial Court in Abuja is restraining the resident doctors from continuing with the strike pending the determination of the substantive suit before it. The court held that there is no amount of money that will compensate for the loss of lives in the circumstance. Justice Bashar Al-Khali made the order while ruling on an application by the federal government in the suit against the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NARD. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors are not backing down yet, as members have now rejected what they call an unfair judgment by the National Industrial Court ordering its members to return to work. The association, in direct reaction to the ruling of the Industrial Court today, says that they are unhappy with the ruling and have instructed the lawyers to take appropriate action to challenge the court decision. They are therefore asking their members to continue the nationwide strike as they apply for a stay of execution and gone back to court to appeal the ruling. There was a statement by the doctors today. They allege that they were denied fair hearing and have accused the federal government of refusing to resume negotiation despite the court order. The court order now says they have shown good faith and are now resolute to fight their grievances and to the very end. They are appealing to their members to remain calm in the face of the continued standoff. Let's get talking about this because we have a member of NARD in our Abuja studio. But what are the issues that we are going to take up with him tonight? First and foremost, why is NARD appealing this matter? The consequence of the continued strike. And what are their grievances? What are the doctors talking about? The bottom line of all of this is that we want a resolution of the impasse. We can't just continue like this. I have joining me tonight, Dr. Julian Ojebo is the Chairman Communication and Communique of the Resident Doctor Association and the immediate past first Vice President of the National Association of Resident Doctors. He is in our Abuja studio. Dr. Ojebo, thank you so much for joining us tonight. First and foremost, we understand that when the President, Muhammadu Buhari, met with the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, the President specifically told the health workers that every other issue that had gone to court should be resolved out of court. Why is NARD still in court?
Very good question, Shehu. I think that question should be directed to the Minister of Labour, who took NARD to court sometime in August. These issues are issues that actually ordinarily can actually be resolved easily if the government, the political appointees, are actually serious about the issues in hand. Let me give you a quick one. We talked about the medical residency training funding. Now, we got good intel that the monies for the medical residency training has been moved to the Ministry of Finance via the IPPIS office. All they need to do now is just to get a letter allowing them to pay the money. If they had done that letter by the Ministry of Health, sometime around 5 p.m. of yesterday, all our members all across the country, 16,000 of them, would have gotten their salaries, their medical residency training funding. As we speak to you, our members have not been paid their August salaries. Okay, now this is school time, this is school season. Our members, children of our members are going to be embarking, resuming school. How do you want them to pay their school fees? They can't fend for themselves. So these are the issues we are talking about. Now, generally, we have said...
But sorry, Dr. Ojebo, that statement you made, but I thought that the federal government has said is a no work, no pay regime. I thought that was clear, isn't it?
Shehu, that in itself is laughable. What about work and no pay regime? Who has said anything about that? The government of today is owing our members University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital for 8 months. They have not paid them. What has the government done for them? Our members in the University of Federal Medical Center in Lokoja have not been paid for 7 months. What has been done to them? Our members in University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospitals have not been paid for 5 months. What has been done to them?
Are these state governments? So
I think that should be
is it the state government or the federal government that has not paid?
I talked about University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital. University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital. These are all federal government institutions. I'm not talking about the state government. Let me go to what His Excellency Governor Akeredolu said. He talked about a sit-down. Governor Akeredolu is owing our members in Ondo State. Has he sat down with our members in Ondo State? He hasn't done that. So these are the issues we are talking. We are talking about political insincerity. When there is insincerity from the part of government, you have such impasse as this. If the government was a serious government, we will not be on day 47 of our strike. This strike would have been halted on day 2. But because there's insincerity on the part of government, that's why we are seeing this impasse last till this time. Okay, if the government was also serious, he would have paid 114 of our house officers that have been lamenting for non-payment of their salaries for the period of 8 months. Our members that died in the space of COVID-19, 21 of them as at the last count. What has been done to their death in benefit services? We're talking about that you have resident doctors on specialist grade level and you're not paying them specialist allowances, and no one is talking about that. So there's so much insincerity in the part of government.
So
now we went to court
Dr. Ojebo, so in this instance, the industrial court today has instructed your members to go back to work. So give us officially the response of NARD on this.
Now, the national leadership led by our president, Dr. Oyulawa Okwasui, and the National Officers Committee, proceeding from the ruling by His Lordship Justice Akali, said that we should go back to work immediately. There was a little brainstorm by the top leadership of the NARD and our legal representative, Femi Falana, Femi Aborishade, and Chief Robinson Ario. These legal minds put heads together with the top leadership, and we said that we feel that this is a violation of human rights. Okay? The rights of 16,000 Nigerian doctors are being trampled upon because these 16,000 Nigerian doctors have not been paid their salaries. So we feel that there was not fair hearing of the demands, the legitimate demands of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors. Sequel to that, we instructed our legal team to put a stay of execution and appeal the judgment, and appeal the ruling, sorry, because we feel, and we are well within our rights, that this judgment, this ruling is not in favor of the Nigerians that they claim to rule in their favor. Because, Shem, I will tell you, imagine, okay, while we are in court, just imagine, look at this scenario. While we are in court, His Lordship, Justice Akali, imagine he had a cardiac arrest. Who will be the people to resuscitate him? Is it those 16,000 Nigerian doctors that have not been paid their salaries? They are shivering from hypoglycemia. Are they not the ones he's going to call upon to resuscitate him? Okay, just yesterday on the news, we saw the chairman of the EFCC, okay, having some medical issues. Who are the people that they are going to rush him to go and meet? Resident doctors. Imagine that these resident doctors have not been paid, but the person they are trying to resuscitate has been paid. Is that not a misplaced judgment or misplaced ruling? So that is why we strongly feel that this is against our normal legal rights, against our mental health. Imagine my child goes to school and my child is told to return home because I have not paid their school fees. Is that not against my mental stability? How do you want me to treat you, Shehu, if you come to me and tell me that you have issues? Of course, I'm going to be thinking about how I'm going to raise funds to take care of the bills of my family members and not your personal problem. So we are saying that we will continue our strike because we have filed for a stay of execution, and we have appealed the case because we believe in the mandate of the Dr. Uyulawa-led National Officers Committee that this is a breach of our fundamental human rights. And we will not take this because a healthy doctor is as good as the patient is trying to take care of. And a staff doctor is a danger to the entire polity that we are in. So again, I say, if you staff 16,000 Nigerian doctors, the pool is 35,000. Take away 16,000. You can do the maths yourself.
All right.
We are putting
So let
Nigerians in danger.
me ask you. So because the doctors are there because of the patients, and so what is important now is how to resolve this matter. Give me an idea of the minimum requirements that you doctors and the resident doctors require from the government to resolve this issue or to go back to work.
Simple, Shehu. Our problems are divided into two. One arm of our problem is policy. The other arm of our problem is payments. Okay? Now, let me take the policy. We are saying that the time interval for when one chief medical director changes or replaces one doctor in any federal teaching hospital or federal medical center is between 1 and 2 years. Change that policy. That is one of the things we're saying. Number two policy, we are saying stop the casualization of medical doctors as seen in over 23 centers, member centers of NARD. 23. Some of them have been casualized for 2 years. Some of them for 18 months. Okay? We are saying stop the casualization of these doctors. We are also saying the head of the civil service, the head of the civil service of the federation, the head of service of the federation, we are saying that she rose to the rank of head of service, permanent secretary, because the 1 year compulsory house officer rotation was included in her promotion cadre. We are saying do not remove the house officers from the scheme of service. Those are the three policies we're talking about. The number 4 policy we're talking about, we are saying that resident doctors, senior registrars are specialist registrars, and as such they deserve their specialist allowances. We are saying let's sit down, let's look for ways to impute into the scheme of service, just as all our neighboring West African countries have done, like in Ghana, in Sierra Leone, and in the Gambia, where senior registrars are specialists, impute that into this scheme of service. That is part of the policy we are talking about. Now let's go to payment. We are saying that most of our members in University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital, a Federal Medical Center, Lokoja, and many others, we are saying they've not been paid between 1 to 8 months. Pay them their legitimate salaries. We are saying that because of casualization of our doctors, you have not paid them what is due them according to the civil service, which is Commerce 3 Step 3 as their entry point. We are saying put them on Commerce 3 Step 3 and pay them what they are supposed to be paid. For the local doctors, for the house officers, we are saying
Dr. Ojebo,
114 of them have not been paid.
Yeah, it does look like this is a long list of requirements or long list of the demands.
No, so I'm
these
just
are the
dividing them into two parts.
Yeah, I'm just
These
saying
are the two issues.
what could be the immediate and urgent requirement minimum that you need, because you're reeling out all of the demands that you have been asking the government. But we need to resolve this matter. And personally, this is a personal feeling that, look, maybe we could resolve this out of court. Maybe it might be easier. Maybe get back to the negotiation table. But what in the thinking of the doctors, for the sake of the patient, that you will need the minimum, maybe 1 or 2, that will make you go back to work?
Shehu, let me digress a little bit. We have talked about for the sake of the patient, for the health of the patient. What about the health of the doctor? This doctor has not been paid for 8 months. How do you expect him to feed? He has not been paid for 8 months. Nobody is talking about that. 114 house officers have not been paid for 8 months. Nobody is talking about that. We go for exams, and the minimum amount of money we spend per year is between 1.5 and 2.5 million. The government gives us just a piecemeal of 542,000 naira, and everybody is going gaga. Just a piecemeal of 542. This is just some of the monies we need per year. We are saying pay that sum for us to augment from our own savings, our own earnings, so that we can take care of this, our exams and our upgrades.
All right,
but
because
nobody's talking about that.
we're out of time. We're out of time because now the federal government will tell you that it's not because there is no money to pay, but because they are finalizing on the issue of the process of payment, and that's the reason why they have not paid. But the question is that there are some states. I understand maybe Lagos, Rivers, or a few states that are meeting the requirement. But because of your members are generally on a nationwide strike, those states are suffering. The states that are satisfied, your members in their own state, why are they the ones also bearing the brunt?
Shehu, Lagos State is one of the greatest beneficiaries of healthcare and of the services of our doctors. Go to the Lagos University, Lagos State University Teaching Hospital and check the patient load to the doctor ratio, and you see that our doctors are burning out. They are going through mental fatigue. Some of them have suicidal tendencies.
The question is that
because they are overstretched.
But in Lagos State that you mentioned, there are no cases of them not paying their workers, the resident, your members. So would you allow them to go back to work in those kind of states, like Lagos, for example?
Shehu, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors is a unity. It's a union. It's a union that has both state and federal teaching hospitals. Okay, you cannot pluck out your eyes and say you want to work from Lagos, from Oshodi to Ilupeju. You can't do that. You are going to fall into a ditch. So it is not. We don't treat issues in isolation. When we have pockets of issues, we try to resolve them at that level. But when we have greater than 1/3 of our member centers having issues, we treat them as a collective.
All right.
So Lagos State is one of the problems that we have.
But we need to go because we're out of time. But I must sincerely thank you, and I appreciate your efforts in explaining these issues, and we do hope that these things will be resolved for the generality of the Nigerian public. Thank you so much, Dr. Ojebo, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Thank you for having me.